A wry smile from reinstated Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte pretty much sums up Italy's latest alliance. Conte survived an attempt to oust him and removed old rivals from his cabinet. These incoming ministers are focused on putting the country's political troubles behind them, but their optimism is tempered by the challenges ahead. 21 ministers were sworn in on Thursday, cementing an unlikely coalition between the anti-establishment Five Star movement and its old enemy, the centre-left Democratic Party. But the Prime Minister is determined to project a united front.
Our
policies will be focused on the future. Our team will dedicate our greatest efforts, skills and passions to build a better Italy for the interests of all citizens from south to north.
Italy and its fragile economy were plunged into chaos in August. An alliance between the Five Star movement and the far-right League Party unravelled after just 14 months in power. Italy is the European Union's third largest economy, but has the second highest level of public debt. It's in the hole to the tune of $2.3 trillion. That's more than double its GDP. It owes hundreds of billions of dollars to other EU countries, meaning no one can afford to see Italy fail. The new government has released a draft economic program with a focus on stimulating the economy. It proposes introducing a minimum wage and lowering taxes for workers. But Conte's team also wants to scrap the previous government's planned sales tax increase, which would have generated an estimated $25 billion. This is the man in charge of balancing their books. New Finance Minister Roberto Gualtieri is a long-serving member of the Democrats and was Conte's top pick for the job. He's an experienced lawmaker, having served in the European Parliament since 2009, and for the past 5 years has been the chairman of the European Parliament's Committee on Economic and Monetary Affairs. He has a big job ahead. Italy's budget is due mid-October. That doesn't give the new government much time to get its affairs in order. Melinda Nucifora, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, Michele Geraci joins me from Milan. He is the former Undersecretary of State for Economic Development. Thank you for joining us on the program. How is the business sector in Italy and Europe reacting to Conte's new cabinet?
It's a little bit too early, of course, to say. The cabinet was sworn in just this morning. The proposal that the new government has put in place is still in a very draft format. It's literally only 2 pages with some initiative that of which we really do not have details yet, and it will be and if I don't have the details, it will be even more difficult for external observers such as investors, the general business community, to judge it. But there is, of course, a lot of anxiety because just of the lack of clarity. If we make a comparison, when we formed the government last year, after a lot of negotiation also between the Lega and the Five Star, we produced a 58 pages document that had quite an outline. Today we only have 2 pages, and so, you know, in financial markets, when uncertainty is high, people always hold back. So we're waiting to see the details, but the fear is that this may take longer because we have done a reverse process. First, decide the cabinet and then go into the details of the program. And it is not 100% sure that the new cabinet will agree on the details. You know, the devil is always in the details. It's very easy to say we want to decrease taxes, make the environment better for investment. The list sounds pretty reasonable, but if the details cannot be agreed by the new minister, then this is when the problem arises. So this is why there is a lot of anxiety.
Certainly. What about the new finance minister? Do you think that he will inspire confidence in the sector?
The new finance minister, of course, comes from a different background. Let's say we have 2 philosophies here in Italy and around the world. Is a very low deficit and very low growth, or high deficit and high growth. The previous government, including the Five Star, if you recall, of course, Ms. Di Maio, a few months ago was announcing a 2.4 deficit for the following 3 years, which was then reduced to around 2%. And now the new government seems to be more on the low deficit, low growth. So we moved from what was our intention to have high deficit level in exchange for high growth. So pay a little bit of a price at the beginning, like you do normally for investment, in exchange for long-term growth, while the new Minister of Finance most likely will be more in line within the rules of the European, which are very tight, and they will impose low deficit, and that would lead, and that's the fear, to low growth. So it's a short-term benefit in exchange for long-term losses, while our previous government was high cost at the beginning in exchange for more sustainable long-term growth.
Mm-hmm. The new government wants to scrap plans to increase the country's sales tax. With such huge debt, why is that taking a stance?
I'm sorry, plans to scrap? Sorry, I missed the question.
To scrap the plans to increase the sales tax.
No, the sales tax will probably not be increased by any government. It is completely against what the public opinion wants. We would have not done it, and I expect the new government also will not increase it. Because I tell you, even if it is probably not the best use of funds, this is public opinion will be completely against it. So I expect no VAT increase under any government.
All right, Michele Geraci, he is the former Undersecretary of State for Economic Development. Thank you for joining us.